Hey everyone, today I have my hands on the Google Pixel tablet. I'm so excited it's finally here and I get to test it out and share that with you in today's video. So I have my tablet in the color hazel, the other option is porcelain, and the tablet also comes with a dock, which is very reminiscent of the Google Hub Max. Looking at them side by side, you can see that both screens are about the same size. The main difference we're seeing from the front is the tablet has a black border and it's also a much thinner border as well, which I personally prefer. I think it looks more elegant. And then from the side, the dock of the tablet is much smaller as well, which I also really like. So this is what it looks like when you attach it here. And it's got a very strong magnet, so you can pretty much shake it and it won't fall off. And here I have the Google Pixel 7 Pro as a little size comparison side by side too. So today I want to share with you the performance of this tablet. So we're going to be editing some phone photos. I'm also going to be editing some photos taken on my professional camera, and we're going to be testing out the video editing capabilities. So before we move on, I want to say a huge thank you to Google for getting this tablet in my hands early. This video is not sponsored though, they don't review this video, and all thoughts and opinions are completely my own. I have the Google Pixel 7a, which is the last phone I reviewed. If you haven't watched that review video yet, I'll leave it linked in the description. But the first thing I want to do is try out the inbuilt photo editing software and also sharing photos from the phone to the tablet. I'm going to start off by turning on nearby share on both devices, and then I'm going to head into my photos on the 7a. So I'm going to select share and press nearby share. Then on the tablet, I'm going to tap here. Then I'm going to select Julia's tablet on the phone. And here on the tablet, I'm just going to continue talking and show you how this works in real time so you can see how long it is, and press open on photos. So that's really quick to share. So the first thing we're going to do is use the in-app editing tools, and I'm going to use my hand so you can see the responsiveness of when you touch the screen. So let's go into edit. And I want to head into our tools and start off with the magic eraser because I do see some things I want to get rid of in this photo. So I'm going to zoom in and just brush over that guy. Beautiful. I'm also going to get rid of that little lens flare there. And let's get rid of that little piece of rubbish as well. And why not just get rid of the bench too? And we'll have a look at the before and after. So now I want to go into adjust, and let's just move in some of these points here. I'm going to bring up the shadows a little bit and then increase the contrast. I also want to go down here into the warmth and increase that sunset vibrancy that we had on the day, as well as the tint and the saturation. And we'll look at the before and after. As you can see, it's very responsive and super snappy as I'm adjusting all these sliders. So there we have our edited photo. Let's close the Photos app, and I just want to tap around on the tablet so you can see the responsiveness. So there we have the App Store, and I'm going to go back to the second page and open up Lightroom there, which is pretty quick. We have there just all our photos. I'm also then going to open up Adobe Rush, which takes just a second to load, but I think that's pretty fast. And we'll open up VLC. We'll just drag around a little bit. CapCut. So I have been testing out this tablet for a little while now, and I have found that it's been very responsive to everything that I've been pressing with my fingers. Now I'm going to move on to using the pen because it looks a little bit nicer in the video. This is just a third-party pen from Amazon, which I've been really happy with. I'll leave it linked in the description if you want this exact one. But now let's go into Lightroom, and we're going to be editing some photos from my professional camera. So one of the reasons I love using a tablet in my photography workflow is that I import all my photos on my computer. So that's where I download, cull, and import into my Lightroom catalog on my desktop. And then I sync it with my tablet so I can take the device with me and sit in a different room. Maybe I can go outside and sit in the sun if I don't feel like sitting at my desk for the whole day. So that's what I've done here. This is a catalog that's on my computer currently, and I've synced it over here to the tablet. So whenever I do an edit on one of these photos here, it will appear on the computer and vice versa. So I have already applied some edits to these photos on my desktop. So when I look at versions, this is the original image and this is my current edit. And I'll go back and I'll swipe through some of these images, and let's take this one for example. We'll have a look at the before and the after. So I want to go and edit this photo here because I haven't done anything to it. So we're going to start by increasing the exposure because it's quite dark, and bringing down the highlights to save some of that detail in the sky. And I'll bring up the shadows a little bit and the blacks just to add some contrast. Next, we'll go into temperature, and I'm going to increase the temperature to make it nice and warm, and also increase the tint to make it a little more pink, and just bring up the vibrance and the saturation down. So let's go back into exposure, and I'm going to tap on my curves, and I'm just going to bring it portrait ways so my curve tool fills the whole screen. And I'm just going to give this photo a nice soft little S curve. And so I'm just going to reset that and do that with my finger as well. So I'm going to increase the curves, bring up the midpoints, and bring down the highlights just a little. Those are just some basic adjustments that you can do in Lightroom, and the tablet handles that really well. So let's see what happens if we add a few more tools that are a bit more performance heavy. So first we're going to use masking, and I'm back on my fingers, by the way. We're going to add a new mask and select the subject, and I want to bring the exposure down very slightly just to make myself darker. And then we'll go back to our mask and select the sky. Again, I want to bring down the exposure because it's a little bit overexposed, and the highlights as well. And we're going to go into color and bring up the temperature too. By the way, this is not really an editing tutorial. Now we just want to see how much we can push a photo edit. So it's probably not going to look that good. We're going to add yet another mask, and this time I want to use a brush. I'm going to make it nice and big and just brush over the mountain area here. Again, bring down the exposure nice and dark, and I want to bring up the tint to make it nice and pink. Okay, so that's it for masking. Now let's do some healing as well. So I'm going to zoom in and make my brush nice and big, and we'll just remove that tree there. And I'll just remove some of these random trees here as well. Maybe that cabin there, this tree, I don't want that there anymore. This cabin, this cabin. Okay, that's enough. And we'll press OK. So now let's see the before and the after. So it handles a lot. You can do a lot to an image and it'll still show you an instant before and after preview. The healing brush works really well. Let me know what you think in the comments. So something else you might not know you can do with Lightroom is you can also edit the colors of a video file. So here I have a 1080p video file, and I'm gonna hit play so we can watch the video as we're editing the tones and the colors. So it's quite dark. I'm gonna start by bringing up the exposure, and I'll bring down the highlights as well, and I'll bring up the shadows. Then in temperature, again, I'm gonna warm it up and bring up the tint too, because we had a really nice blue hour happening. And actually, I'm gonna bring down the exposure a little bit. Oh, press play again, because the clip finished. And here I'll look at the before, after, before, after, all while the video is playing, and it's doing this without a hitch. Before, after. So that's 1080p. I also have a 4K video file here as well, and we'll just wait for it to load. I'll hit play. And again, I'll just do some random adjustments. So I'll increase the exposure, I'll bring down the highlights, bring up the shadows. Again, this isn't gonna look good, but I just want to move some sliders around so you can see what that looks like and how it performs. And again, it's playing 1080p just fine as well. And we'll have a look at the before, after, before, after. Speaking of video, I now want to do some video editing, and I use two separate apps for this. But before we get started, something I did notice is that this tablet plays H.265 files from phones like the Pixel 7 Pro just fine, but it doesn't play H.265 files from my professional camera like the A7S III. So if I go into VLC just here, this is an A7S III H.265 file, which I've pressed played on, but it just goes all gray, so it doesn't show you. And this video file I also tested, it doesn't play on the Pixel phones either. This file here, on the other hand, is a H.264 file. It's 4K and it plays perfectly fine on the tablet. First, let's open up Adobe Rush, and we're going to create a new project called Untitled, and we're going to be using that long 4K clip. It's about a 15 gigabyte file, just to give you an idea. So that's this one. It's 20 minutes long. So let's create, and we'll wait for it to prepare media. So I'm just going to go ahead and start editing this file. So I want to cut out that little zoom in at the beginning. So I'll select that and delete. Then I'll press play, and I like that little clip, but I'll press pause, cut, and we can move on to the next scene, which I think is here, where you can see Kung. So I'll delete that, go back and watch my cut. It's really nicely, pause, and then I'm gonna cut, and I'm gonna drag from here, and we'll see how it's like scrubbing through the footage. Pretty smooth. Let's play, stop, cut, And then I'm gonna go ahead and find a section where I'm talking. So I'm gonna drag across, and I want a good like 1 or 2 minute clip. So I'm gonna go quite far, and I'm gonna speed up this clip so we can see the performance of when it's at 200 or 300% speed. So let's bring it up to about 200%. Then I'm gonna put the playhead on the clip before, which is at real speed, and press play. So this is real time, and then it's gonna cut to the 200% clip, which as you can see is very smooth and is playing very nicely. So let's do that again, but a little bit faster, about 400. We'll go back to the first clip, which is at real time speed, and press play. So this one, there we go. It took a little second to load, but now it's playing again really well. And then the final thing that I want to check out in Rush is what it's like applying colors to a playing video file. So I'm going to hit play, and I'm just going to hit some of these presets. And it pretty much changes without a glitch. The video is still going pretty smooth. That one, it stopped for a second. But as you click through, the video continues playing without a single problem, which is awesome. So I also use the app CapCut to edit my videos on tablets and phones. So I have a project here. So I find that Adobe Rush is good for editing 4K footage, but I like using CapCut because it's in 1080, and I use that mostly for socials like TikTok and Instagram Reels, which only uploads 1080. So this is a 4K file, but it's in a 1080 timeline, which is the maximum we can do here in CapCut. So I'm going to press play, and as you can see, it plays just as well as it does in Adobe Rush. And I'm going to go ahead and cut some of this footage. So I'm going to split that, delete, zoom in, press play, and then I'll pause it here, split it again, and then click and drag this playhead. And then as we're scrubbing through, it plays really nicely. You can see a lot of the footage. Again, let's try splitting that here and speeding up this footage as well. So we'll split that and head into speed, where I'll have a normal increase, and let's say we'll make it 5 times faster. So I'll press play, and beautiful. We'll go from the clip before, this is real time, and now that's 5 times faster. So that is all I have for my Google Pixel tablet testing. The reason I like to do photo and video editing is because these are very processor heavy tasks, and you can really see how well a device performs by the way it handles it. So if this tablet wasn't very good, it would be lagging and not being very responsive when I'm doing photo and video editing, but I found that it handled both those tasks really well, and I would definitely trust this tablet to be doing my photo editing as I like to do with the tablets. But I really hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them, and if you want to see any other videos with this tablet as well. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every single week, so I'll see you all next time. Bye!